Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. My name is Brandon Gonzales. I'll be joined today by Jaime Fulcher and Ryan Kane. We will be discussing breathing, the assessment, diagnosis, and treatment of breathing disorders. Our objectives of this presentation are to give you an understanding of the basic anatomy of breathing, to help you to be able to identify disordered breathing, to give you an understanding of the who's who in the breathing academia, to demonstrate the ability to treat disordered breathing, to give you an overview of the current research in breathing, and finally, to give you a few of our future research questions in the field of breathing.
So next we're going to refer back to Michael Grant White, who is considered the breathing expert, and his opinion on what is normal with breathing. So simply saying belly breathe is not enough info to properly breathe. It should feel like one motion, so it should start in your abdomen, and normal breathing is actually called diaphragmatic breathing. So it's all about that diaphragm, using the diaphragm to breathe properly. So the diaphragm drops down, and all this is called 360-degree breathing. So it expands the lower torso sides and comes back to draw air into the lungs. So the lungs reach a certain point in which the ribs have to expand before the lungs can get larger. And this whole process requires proper strength, sequencing, and relaxation of key muscles. So as you can see with some of these diagrams here, the diaphragm contracts and actually descends, allowing the chest to expand outward. And when it breathes in, the diaphragm relaxes and ascends, allowing everything to come back into normal place.
In 2004, Perry and Halford also came out with a definition of what normal breathing is. According to them, the breath should be initiated in the abdominal cavity. What that means is when they take an inhalation breath, the belly should expand outwards, and when they exhale, the belly should go in. Any lifting of the chest is defined as faulty by them. You should have no deep clavicular grooves in your neck. That is a sign of a chest breather or a high breather or abnormal breathing. What that looks like typically is this. And that is what that sign is. A lack of motion in the lateral ribs or lifting up of the lateral ribs is also defined as abnormal by them. What should happen is you should have a horizontal motion of those ribs. So if you look to the right here, we see our picture that has the three rings around the lower abdomen, the thoracic spine, and then the upper thoracic spine along the chest cavity, the nipple line kind of right there. Those should go out like you're filling a balloon, or if you use Michael Grant White's analogy, it should be kind of that pear. So you're going to get your greatest motion in the abdomen, mild motion in the lower T-spine, and very little motion in the upper T-spine. Also, what is defined as abnormal for them is paradoxal breathing. What that means is that it's an abnormal pattern. It's also the most severe pattern. But what that is where the chest, when you breathe in, your chest goes in. And when you breathe out, your chest goes out. So it's the reverse of what should actually be happening.
Now we're going to talk about the assessment diagnosis and what to look for in our evaluation when determining what is normal and what is not with breathing in our patients. And sometimes it's difficult to assess because each patient is different, and sometimes it seems normal when someone is breathing. So with breathing pattern disorders, there's physiological, psychological, and biochemical components of breathing. Now looking at the center of inspiration, instead of widening in a horizontal plane, is also known as chest breathing. And this is actually considered the most common fault in respiration, and occurs due to bilateral overactivity of the scalenes and trapezius and the vagal scapular musculature. So chest breathing can also cause chronic issues. neck pain, so it's called the accessory muscle at the top. In expiration, the diaphragm relaxes and ascends, while the abdominal wall is drawn in toward the spine and the ribs and thorax move down as well. So expiration is called when the breath taken is held and not fully exhaled, and rib motion is reduced, or paradoxical breathing occurs. The most severe dysfunction is this paradoxical breathing, where the abdomen is now moved the opposite way of being drawn in for inhalation and out for exhalation. So the primary respiratory faults include chest movements that are predominant, lifting up motion of the upper chest, so we don't want the chest to lift up, we want to keep it out. And we also, there's absence of or lifting up motion of the lateral ribs, and the abdominal movement is rigid or paradoxical. So abdominal breathing is also known as thoracic breathing, and is something that we can look for in our evaluation of the patient.
So now we're going to talk about the assessment and diagnosis and what to look for in our evaluation when determining what is normal and what is not with breathing in our patients. And sometimes it's difficult to assess because each patient is different, and sometimes it seems normal when someone is breathing. So with breathing pattern disorders, there is physiological, psychological, and biochemical components that are related between each individual with breathing. So lifting up the sternum through inspiration and instead of widening in a horizontal plane is also known as chest breathing. And this is actually considered the most common fault of respiration and occurs due to bilateral overactivity in the scalenes, the trapezius, and levator scapula musculature. So chest breathing can also cause chronic issues during inspiration, which includes neck pain because it's all the accessory muscles up top. In expiration, the diaphragm relaxes and ascends while the abdominal wall is drawn in toward the spine and the ribs and thorax move down and in as well. So expiration is faulty when the breath taken is held and not fully exhaled, and rib motion is reduced or paradoxical breathing occurs. So the most severe dysfunction is this paradoxical breathing, where the abdomen is now moves the opposite way by being drawn in during inhalation and out during exhalation. So some primary respiratory faults include chest movements that are predominant, lifting up motion of the upper chest, so we don't want the chest to lift up, we want it to move out. And there is absence of or lifting up motion of the lateral ribs, and the abdominal movement is rigid or paradoxical. So abnormal breathing is also known as thoracic breathing and is something that we need to look for in our evaluation with our patients.
As mentioned earlier, there are different factors that are related to breathing pattern disorders. So here's a slide that kind of gives you a little sample of the different sections and components related. So for biomechanical factors, we have postural maladaptations, chronic mouth breathing, congenital factors, abnormal movement patterns, upper limb movement. For physiological factors, we have lung disease, allergies, diet, exercise. For psychological factors, we also have anxiety, stress, panic disorders, pain, depression, and fear of those symptoms. So here is just kind of a little outline to notice in your evaluation and diagnosis when looking at your patients and trying to assess breathing pattern disorders.
So as we discuss breathing further in depth, we get to Michael Grant White. He kind of divides up breathing in terms of sympathetic breathing and parasympathetic breathing. So with sympathetic breathing, it's typically tied to your fight or flight response. This typically happens when you are the recipient of a stressor, whether that's internal or external. So what happens is when you have those stressors, you have an internal reaction that causes a rapid, shallow breath, or what we call chest breathing. This is often misdiagnosed as asthma or anxiety, and it's also tied in with some of the phobias that people have. This can cause the breath to be either too shallow or too deep, but more often than not, it's going to be too shallow. What this causes is a low oxygenation of the blood in the body, which leads to a decrease in the body's ability to detoxify the blood and the body. You also get a weakened parasympathetic breath or parasympathetic nervous system as well, because you're taking that short breath, and as you'll learn on the next slide, you decrease that belly breath, which decreases your parasympathetic breathing as well, and so you lose some of the effects of that. This is also what Michael Grant White says is a deep hyperventilation, he calls it. It's also tied to anxiety, fear, or panic. So think about a near-miss car crash, or someone scares you, you're kind of startled, take a quick breath, takes you a few seconds or possibly even a few minutes to kind of settle back down before you can kind of catch your breath. And like I said before, this is often misdiagnosed as asthma or anxiety. So just as our shallow and chest breathing was tied to the sympathetic nervous system, our belly breath is tied to the parasympathetic nervous system. So as we get that anxiety or fear or that startle reflex, our body needs a way to calm that down, so it fires the parasympathetic nervous system. If you look at our diagram on the bottom, you see that on the sympathetic system side, we have that anxiety and fear because you have that high elevation there. So how would we decrease that? We put the totter the other way. So we would raise our parasympathetic breathing. So this is interesting in that it shows the body's ability to influence nervous system, organs, and other systems of the body through the breath. This leads a deep parasympathetic breathing, or a parasympathetic breathing dominant person, whereas a person who breathes a lot through their belly, or very much so through their belly, more in that like 80-20%, if you remember the cone from earlier in the presentation. And this can lead to a comatose state or a non-reactivity, so a very flat affect. It also helps calm down from most stress situations, and it helps you to get ready for athletic performance or increase creativity via increase in alpha brainwaves. So you think of when people have a anxiety attack or asthma, as they say take deep breaths and control your breathing, right? This is influencing that parasympathetic nervous system state. Now, this is also good from a wellness perspective, but as in any good thing, you should limit how much of it you are doing. So you want some belly breath, but you typically want that balanced 70-30% ratio of parasympathetic to sympathetic nervous system rate.
So last piece of our page chart is the solar plexus. Now, if you look at our diagram down below, more of the deeper breathing, but pay attention to the balance within this diagram. So you see finally our teeter totter is not too tall, not too low. And what that gives us is a nice horizontal platform that's even with the top of our meters. This is ideally where we want to be. This is that 70-30 that I talked about earlier. Now, what the deeper breathing tends to do, or not the deeper breathing, what the solar plexus tends to do, it kind of stands as that regulator within the parasympathetic and sympathetic breathing. It tends to keep a balance between the internal and external stimulators, whether those are pleasant or those are stressful. So it kind of takes all of that in and decides what to do with our breathing, how to regulate that, how to manage that within the body. Overall, within the state of our overall well-being, this is a pretty big deal for us. And it also responds a lot to our internal stimulation as well. So we said earlier that with the sympathetic breathing, we're getting a decrease in the oxygenation in the blood. And if that happens with solar plexus, it actually sees that and it starts picking up the other side, picking up the parasympathetic, get more oxygen into the body. That detoxify the body. It responds to cells that are trying to start with nutrients and toxins and more oxygen, lack of oxygen. And this communicates this to the body through pain, inflammation, or a vague sense of anxiety or some other type of disease. On PAT program that our body let us know, like once it slows down, this is kind of what the soul pressure job is, and that monitoring that two part parasympathetic nervous system with peace of autonomic nervous system.
Some of the current research includes studies that looked at breathing pattern disorders in scores on the FMS, low back pain, and with various musculoskeletal. The first study by Bradley and Esforms in 2014 looked at 34 healthy individuals. The individuals who exhibited signs of breathing pattern disorders were likely to demonstrate greater movement dysfunctions as represented by the lower scores on the FMS. These findings may confirm that we as clinicians should include breathing evaluations into clinical practice, as they could be contributing to problems with motor control and movement. The next study by Jaime, Doctoral, and Fulcher in 2002 looked at breathing pattern disorders and low back pain. They included 10 healthy and 10 patients with low back pain. Those with low back pain showed greater body balance disturbance as measured by a force plate with respiration than healthy subjects. The study examined respiration rate and minute volume. However, we cannot determine from the study which came first, the disordered breathing pattern or the low back pain, but correcting the breathing pattern disorder can improve low back pain. The next study by Mailing in 2006 included 36 chronic low back patients. This study was among the first to provide evidence that chronic low back pain, treating chronic low back pain with breath therapy, which integrates body awareness, breathing, meditation, and movement. However, the details of the treatments were not given in this study. So, kind of limitations there. The next study that's associated with just general musculoskeletal pain was a study by GAT graduates Aaron Chapman and Jana Hansen-Honeycutt. It was a two-part article. It was a case series, and the second part included 3 patients with low back pain, one with mid back pain, and one with knee pain. Following breathing pattern disorder assessment, patients were treated using PRRT and a breathing techniques including clamshell breathing. All 3 patients saw decreases in the NRS at startle reflex points along the ribs, and 2 of those met MCID values for the NPRS. Patients also saw an NPRS decrease at their chief complaint, so either the knee, mid-back, etc. The assessment and treatment of breathing pattern disorders and startle reflexes might be an essential component to determine a potential cause or contributors to musculoskeletal pain. Finally, a study by Perry and Halford in 2003 was a pilot study of 111 subjects. They looked at the correlation of pain with faulty breathing patterns. The study included subjects complaining of headache, neck, back, arm, and leg pain. 75% of those in this study exhibited some form of breathing pattern disorder. Again, we can't conclude whether the pain came first or the breathing pattern disorder, but there seems to be some link there. So treating the breathing pattern disorders may have a significant effect on pain. There are many other studies out there. These are the ones that we found to be most beneficial in our research, and so we wanted to share those with you, and we will move on to more of the assessment and treatment of these breathing pattern disorders. Now that we've reviewed the anatomy of the respiratory system, as well as how the central nervous system or autonomic nervous system interacts with breathing pattern disorders and vice versa, we'd like to go over some of the assessment tools that are available for us to use with our patients in the clinic. The first is just a simple observation. As the patient enters the clinic and starts to describe their injury or their current apparent problem, you just want to observe and just visually assess. Are they breathing easy? Are they labored? Is it noisy or is it quiet? Is it feel fast or slow? Any of those observational assessment items. The next thing you can do is have the patient either lie supine or seated. I'm going to demonstrate seated just because that's convenient for me. You're going to have the patient place one hand on their sternum and one hand on their belly, just below the diaphragm process and above the belly button. Then you're just going to have them breathe normally. As they're breathing, they should be able to notice that either their top hand is rising more, or their bottom hand is rising more, or their shoulders are rising, coming up like this, meaning they're using more of the accessory muscles of breathing. Any of those can be indicative of disordered breathing because you want it to be an all-one pattern. Belly first, then chest, without the accessory muscles in the neck. So that's just the simple seated high-low or supine high-low test. The The next thing you can look at is the volume and oxygen uptake. As this patient is again seated or standing, have them inhale to their fullest extent, as fast as they can while they're exhaling, but out loud, not whispering, but out loud. Count with clear numbers as high as they can count as they exhale. And be sure that they're squeezing out all the air they can while they're counting so they get as high as possible. Don't want them to inhale while they're counting or hold their breath or skip numbers or whisper. That's just going to mess up the assessment. They should be able to. There's a range, so 150 or more numbers is considered excellent. 2 to 59 is considered poor. So you can assess this, write down the number in your initial assessment, and assess it as you are treating the patient. The next thing is the breathing rate, and this is simple. Again, they're seated or standing, breathing naturally in a normal pattern, and they're just going to count how many breaths they take, inhale and exhale, in a minute, in 60 seconds. Again, 5 to 6 breaths per minute is considered excellent, and 17 or more is considered poor. And there's a range in between there. The next thing you can assess is the breathing pause. Most people, when they breathe and they exhale, there's a pause between breaths, and that's normal. So they're just going to observe the natural breathing pattern and note if there's a pause between breaths for 1 or more seconds. Again, 2 to 3 seconds is normal. 3 to 5 seconds is optimal, meaning they just have that natural control and not upregulated. And greater than 9 seconds, especially with disrupted sleep, is considered dysfunctional. You're getting into like the sleep apnea stage. So that's just an idea to keep there with the breathing pause. The breathing pause extension. It's kind of a extension of the breathing pause. And what they're going to do is at the end of the natural exhale, they're going to pause and count as long as they can before taking the next inhale, before they feel that will to breathe and desire they have to breathe in order to not pass out. And they want to just count the seconds, even if there's moderate discomfort. But don't go so long they're going to pass out, and try to exhale more while they're counting. So 60 plus seconds in between is considered excellent, and 0 to 14 is considered very poor. So again, these are just quantitative numbers you can put on your assessment as you are examining your patient, and you can track it along the treatment pathway. The other thing you can assess is tender point. This is similar to the 1-minute nociceptive exam and PRRT. So you're going to assess the first and second ribs, the 7th and 8th ribs, and the 11th and 12th ribs. So you're assessing the accessory muscle attachment, the intercostal muscle attachment, and the diaphragm attachments to the ribs. If any of these are sore or tender on the patient, that can also be indicative of kind of the misuse of those muscles associated with breathing pattern disorders. And we'll go over how to treat some of those as well.
Our first technique is the Michael Grant White optimal sit, bend, and breathe. This is typically used for lower back pain and also for reducing shortness of breath. You could also use this just in your general treatment plan to breathe better. Some of the benefits of this are you improve O2 and CO2 balance, and you strengthen the vocal resonance within your voice. So any type of vocal disorders you can use this for. So a sign of improvement in this exercise is that you will have a slower breath rate afterwards, you'll decrease lower back pain and tension, and you'll also increase mental clarity. So what you do is you kind of sit back here, sit in this, what they call optimal breathing window, which is when you take a deep breath in, that point right before it becomes uncomfortable, when you really try and take that maximum breath, that's what he calls an 8, and that's the top of our window. And then when we breathe out, right before we fully exhale to where it's uncomfortable, that's what he calls a 3, and you want to stay between that 8 and that 3. So you sit here, spread your legs, take 2 or 3 breaths, then I'll move to the side so you guys can see. Then you kind of hang down, and you're going to take, when you do that, when you hang down, you're going to take about 5 to 10 breaths, really focusing on breathing through the abdomen and expanding through your back. And then when you're done, you take your 5 to 10 breaths, you sit up, you take another 1 or 2 breaths within your optimal breathing window, and then let the benefits rain in.
Okay, so this is the optimal breathing squeeze and breathe technique. So this is to help breathe more fully and efficiently, and this is helpful for when you're tired or physically and emotionally stressed. So what you're going to do is you're going to stand tall with your feet under your hips. So you're going to take your hand, your thumb and your fingers. You're going to place your thumb below the ribs, above the pelvis, onto the kidney. And you're going to bring your hands around toward your belly button. And you're going to do the same on the same side, or the different side. So then you're going to press in and squeeze, not too hard, but hard enough. So you're going to breathe in on a 5 count, and you're going to do it against the will of the squeeze. So you're going to breathe in and exhale. And this will help with anxiety and other issues related to breathing pattern disorders.
The next technique we would like to demonstrate in the Michael Grant White series is the optimal reflex triggering twist and stretch. This technique is known to enhance the breathing reflex that will to live and survive. The benefits may include a lower blood pressure, strengthening vocal resonance, which is involved with speaking and singing, massage the lymphatic system in the torso through the diaphragm, and also may reduce pain. So what the patient's going to do, they're going to sit up straight and tall, either in a chair or on a table, whichever one's most convenient for you and for the patient. And they're going to take a natural inhale and exhale. As they get to the bottom of the exhale, they're going to twist to one side or the other. It doesn't really matter which side, whichever one's better, easier for them. And that's going to further push air out of the lungs through the diaphragm. As they get done with that, they can come back to a neutral position. And they should be able to notice that their breathing is easier. They're better able to take an effortless inhale as well as exhale. They should notice that their belly is breathing larger, especially if they're a chest breather and there's a difference in the initial assessment. They could also experience energetic harmony, including a warmth or a surging or a buzzing, anything like that in their body due to the added oxygen that's going through the system. And they also could experience a state of calm after this technique. The technique can be repeated up to 10 times in a treatment session and also daily as needed to just kind of reset that diaphragm through this technique. So that is the optimal reflex triggering twist and stretch technique, and I hope you enjoyed it and were able to use this with your patients.
So knowing what we know now with breathing pattern disorders, and after this presentation, we have some future research questions that we would like to know. So what are the effects of the PERT diaphragm technique on patients with breathing pattern disorders? So if the diaphragm isn't working properly, does this treatment technique with PERT allow that to regain its function? Another question we have is, are there any effects with using energy medicine or the Yoon method? So knowing that stress and anxiety are big factors relating to breathing pattern disorders, do these techniques help delete that issue and help breathe normally? The last question we have is, what is the relationship between breathing pattern disorders and the autonomic nervous system upregulation? So we want to know, what is the relationship between those two, and are there any treatments that can fix that as well? So I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and looking forward to questions.